Police were an English rock band formed in London in 1977. For most of their history the lineup consisted of primary songwriter Sting, lead vocals, bass guitar, Andy Summers, guitar, and Stuart Copeland, drums, percussion. The Police became globally popular in the late 1970s and early 1980s. Emerging in the British new wave scene, they played a style of rock influenced by punk, reggae, and jazz. Their 1978 debut album, Outlandos d'Amour, reached No. 6 on the UK albums chart on the strength of the singles, Roxanne, and Can't Stand Losing You. Their second album, Regatta de Blanc, 1979, became the first of 4 consecutive number 1 studio albums in the UK and Australia. Its first 2 singles, Message in a Bottle, and Walking on the Moon, became their first UK number 1s. Their next 2 albums, Zenyatta Mondata, 1980, and Ghost in the Machine, 1981, led to further critical and commercial success with 2 songs, Don't Stand So Close to Me, and Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic, becoming UK number 1 singles and top 5 hits in other countries. The former album was their breakthrough into the US, reaching number 5 on the US Billboard 200. Their final studio album, Synchronicity, 1983, was No. 1 in the UK, Canada, Australia, Italy and the US, selling over 8 million copies in the US. Its lead single, Every Breath You Take, became their 5th UK number 1, and only US number 1. During this time, the band were considered one of the leaders of the second British invasion of the US. In 1983, Rolling Stone labeled them the first British new wave act to break through in America on a grand scale, and possibly the biggest band in the world. The Police disbanded in 1986, but reunited in early 2007 for a one-off world tour that ended in August 2008. They were the world's highest-earning musicians in 2008, due to their reunion tour, which was the highest-grossing tour of 2007. The Police have sold over 75 million records, making them one of the best-selling bands of all time. The band won a number of music awards, including 6 Grammy Awards, 2 Brit Awards, winning Best British Group once, and an MTV Video Music Award. In 2003, they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. 4 of their 5 studio albums appeared on Rolling Stone's list of the 500 greatest albums of all time. The band were included among both Rolling Stone's and VH1's lists of the 100 greatest artists of all time. 1977–1978, recording contract and Outlandos d'Amour. Copeland's older brother Miles was initially skeptical of the inclusion of Summers in the band, fearing it would undermine their punk credibility, and reluctantly agreed to provide £1,500 to finance the Police's first album. Recording Outlandos d'Amour was difficult, as the band was working on a small budget, with no manager or record deal. It was recorded during off-peak hours at the Surrey Sound Studios in Leatherhead, Surrey, a converted recording facility above a dairy which was run by brothers Chris and Nigel Gray. During one of his periodic studio visits, Miles heard Roxanne for the first time at the end of a session. Where he had been less enthusiastic about the band's other songs, the elder Copeland was immediately struck by the track, and quickly got the Police a record deal with A&M Records on the strength of it. Roxanne was issued as a single in the spring of 1978, while other album tracks were still being recorded, but it failed to chart. It also failed to make the BBC's playlist, which the band attributed to the song's depiction of prostitution. A&M consequently promoted the single with posters claiming, "Banned by the BBC," though this was a misconception. It was never banned, just not playlisted. Copeland later admitted, "We got a lot of mileage out of it being supposedly banned by the BBC." 1979. Regatta de Blanc. In October 1979, the group released their second album, Regatta de Blanc, which topped the UK albums chart and became the first of 4 consecutive UK number 1 studio albums. The album spawned the hit singles, Message in a Bottle, number 1 UK, number 2 Canada, number 5 Australia, and Walking on the Moon. The album's singles failed to enter the US top 40, but Regatta de Blanc still reached No. 25 on the US album charts. The band's first live performance of "Message in a Bottle" was on the BBC's television show Rock Goes to College, filmed at Hatfield Polytechnic College in Hertfordshire. The instrumental title track, Regatta de Blanc, won the Grammy Award for Best Rock Instrumental Performance. In February 1980, the single, So Lonely, was reissued in the UK. Originally a non-charting flop when first issued in late 1978, upon re-release the track became a UK top 10 hit. 1980–1981, Zenyatta Mondata. Pressured by their record company for a new record and a prompt return to touring, the Police released their third album, Zenyatta Mondata, in October 1980. The album was recorded in a 3-week period in the Netherlands for tax reasons and was completed the night before the band embarked on a new world tour. The album gave the group their third UK number 1 hit, Don't Stand So Close to Me, the UK's best-selling single of 1980, and another hit single, Da Do Do Do, Da 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 Da, both of which reached No. 10 in the US. While the three band members and co-producer Nigel Gray all expressed immediate regret over the rushed recording for the album, which was finished at 4 a.m. On the day the band began their world tour, the album received high praise from critics. The instrumental, Behind My Camel, written by Andy Summers, won the band a Grammy for Best Rock Instrumental Performance, while Don't Stand So Close to Me won the Grammy for Best Rock Vocal Performance for Duo or Group. 1981–1982, Ghost in the Machine and Brimstone and Treacle. The Police's fourth album, Ghost in the Machine, co-produced by Hugh Padgham, was recorded at Air Studios on the Caribbean island of Montserrat, with the exception of Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic, which was recorded at Le Studio at Morin Heights, Quebec, Canada, and released in 1981. It featured thicker sounds, layered saxophones, and vocal textures. It spawned the hit singles, Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic, featuring pianist Jean Roussel, their fourth UK number 1, number 3 in the US, Invisible Sun, and Spirits in the Material World. As the band was unable to agree on a cover picture, the album cover had 3 red pictographs, digital likenesses of the 3 band members in the style of segmented LED displays, set against a black background. In the 1980s, Sting and Summers became tax exiles and moved to Ireland, Sting to Roundstone, County Galway, and Summers to Kinsale in County Cork, while Copeland, an American, remained in England. The group opened and closed the 1981 concert film, A Music War. The film, which captured the music scene in the wake of punk, was masterminded by Stuart Copeland's brothers Ian and Miles. The film had a limited release but developed a mythic reputation over the years. 1983. Synchronicity and The Biggest Band in the World. In 1983, the Police released their last studio album, Synchronicity, which spawned the hit singles, Every Breath You Take, Wrapped Around Your Finger, King of Pain, and Synchronicity 2. By that time, several critics deemed them the biggest rock band in the world. Recording the album, however, was a tense affair with increasing disputes among the band. The 3 members recorded their contributions individually in separate rooms and overdubbed at different times. The Synchronicity tour began in Chicago, Illinois in July 1983 at the original Comiskey Park, and on the 18th of August the band played in front of 70,000 in Shea Stadium, New York. Near the end of the concert, Sting announced, "We'd like to thank the Beatles for lending us their stadium." Looking back, Copeland states, "Playing Shea Stadium was big because, even though I'm a septic tank," rhyming slang for yank, the Police is an English band and I'm a Londoner, an American Londoner, so it felt like conquering America. They played throughout the UK in December 1983, including 4 sold-out nights at London's Wembley Arena, and the tour ended in Melbourne, Australia on the 4th of March 1984 at the Melbourne Showgrounds. The final concert featured Sunny Boys, Kids in the Kitchen, Bryan Adams and Australian Crawl, with the Police topping the bill. Sting's look, dominated by his orange-colored hair, a result of his role in Dune, and tattered clothing, both of which were emphasized in the music videos from the album, carried over into the set for the concert. Except for King of Pain, The singles were accompanied by music videos directed by Godley and Cream. 1984 to 1986, hiatus, aborted 6th studio album. During the group's 1983 Shea Stadium concert, Sting felt performing at the venue was Everest, and decided to pursue a solo career, according to the documentary The Last Play at Shea. After the Synchronicity tour ended in March 1984, the band went on hiatus while Sting recorded and toured in support of his successful solo debut LP. The jazz influenced The Dream of the Blue Turtles, released in June 1985. Copeland recorded and filmed The Rhythmist, 1985, and Summers recorded another album with Robert Fripp, Bewitched, 1984, and the theme song for the film 2010, which was not used in the film, but included on the soundtrack album. At the 1985 Brit Awards held at London's Grosvenor Hotel on the 11th of February, the band received the award for Outstanding Contribution to Music. In July the same year, Sting and Copeland participated in Live Aid at Wembley Stadium, London. 1986 to 2006, disbandment. Each band member continued with his solo career over the next 20 years. Sting continued recording and touring as a solo performer to great success. Summers recorded a number of albums, both as a solo artist and in collaboration with other musicians. Copeland became a prolific producer of movie and television soundtracks, and he recorded and toured with 2 new bands, Animal Logic and Oysterhead. However, a few events did bring the Police back together, albeit briefly. Summers played guitar on Sting's album, Nothing Like the Sunday, 1987, a favor the singer returned by playing bass on Summers' album Charming Snakes, 1990, and later singing lead vocals on Round Midnight, for Summers' tribute to Thelonious Monk Green Chimneys, 1999. On the 2nd of October 1991, Sting's 40th birthday, Summers joined Sting on stage at the Hollywood Bowl during the Soul Cages tour to perform Walking on the Moon, Every Breath You Take, and Message in a Bottle. The performance was broadcast as a pay-per-view event. 2007-2008, Reunion Tour. In early 2007, reports surfaced the trio would reunite for a tour to mark the Police's 30th anniversary, more than 20 years since their split in 1986. On the 22nd of January 2007, the Punk Wave magazine Sideline broke the story the Police would reunite for the Grammys, and would perform Roxanne. Sideline also stated the Police were to embark on a massive world tour. Billboard magazine later confirmed the news, quoting Summers' 2006 statement as to how the band could have continued post-Synchronicity. The more rational approach would have been, okay, Sting, go make a solo record, and let's get back together in 2 or 3 years. I'm certain we could have done that. Of course we could have. We were definitely not in a creative dry space. We could have easily carried on, and we could probably still be there. That wasn't to be our fate. It went in another way. I regret we never paid it off with a last tour. The band opened the 49th Annual Grammy Awards on the 11th of February 2007 in Los Angeles, announcing, "Ladies and gentlemen, we are the Police. And we're back," before launching into Roxanne.